There we go. Alright. Alright, here we go. The Bear by voice actor website staff. Animals at play. The end seemed very near for Hudson, a Canadian Eskimo dog tethered near the shore of Hudson Bay, east of Churchill, Manitoba. A 1,000-pound polar bear was lumbering towards the dog at about 40 others, the prized possession of Briar Ladoon, a hunter and trapper. It was mid-November. Ice had not yet formed on the bay, and the open water prevented bears from hunting their favorite prey, seals. So this bear had been virtually feasting for 4 months. Fasting for 4 months. Surely a dog was destined to become a meal. The bear closed in. Did Hudson howl in terror and try to flee? On the contrary, he wagged his tail, grinned, and actually bowed to the bear, as if invitation. The bear responded with enthusiastic body language and non-aggressive facial signals. The two normally antagonistic species were speaking the same language. Let's play. The romp was on. For several minutes, dog and bear wrestled and cavorted. Once the bear completely wrapped himself around the dog like a friendly white cloud, bear and dog then embraced, as if in sheer abandon. Overheated by his smaller playmates' shenanigans, the bear lay down and called for a timeout. Every evening for more than a week, the bear returned to play with one of the dogs. Finally, the ice formed and he set off for his winter habitat. Hello, hello. Oh, hey, Mike. Welcome. Hello there. Cool. Right. And that is the bear. I go them at random. Some are long, some are really, really short. Candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker. Reflections and ice breaking. Revelation. Do you have one of those cotton picking machines? The pleasant lady asked. No, Mrs. Turpin said. They leave half the cotton in the field. We don't have much cotton anyway. If you want to make it farming now, you have to have a little of everything. We got a couple of acres of cotton and a few hogs and chickens and just enough white face that Claude can look after them himself. One thing I don't want, the white trash woman said, wiping her mouth with the back of her hand. Hogs. Nasty, stinking things, grunting and rooting all over the place. Mrs. Turpin gave her the merest edge of her attention. Our hogs are not dirty, and they don't stink, she said. They're cleaner than some children I've seen. Their feet never touch the ground. We have a pig parlor. That's where you raise them on concrete, she explained to the pleasant lady. And Claude shoots them down with the hose every afternoon and washes off the floor. Cleaner by far than that child right there, she thought. Poor, nasty little thing. He had not moved, just got to put the thumb of his dirty hand into his mouth. The woman turned her face away from Mrs. Turpin. I know I wouldn't scoot down no hog with no hose, she said to the wall. You wouldn't have no hog to scoot down, Mrs. Turpin said to herself. Runes of Evolution. Audition? But here is a book that is prepared to be heterodox and not before time. So what is it all about? Even among mammals, let alone the entire tree of life, humans represent 1 minute twig of a vast and largely fossilized arborescence. So it would be very poor form were we to demand center stage. nor is that my intention. Every living species is a linear descendant of an immense string of now vanished ancestors, but evolution itself is the reverse of linear. Rather, it is endlessly exploratory, probing the vast spaces of biological hyperspace. Indeed, this book is a celebration of how our world is, and was, populated by a riot of forms, a coruscating tapestry of life. Howdy. Oh, scrap, thank you. Cool. Every little bit helps. A bit frustrating. I have to wait till I get $100 before I can withdraw any money from Twitch, but I think last I checked I was at like 35 something or other, somewhere along those lines. And they don't have a just, this is how much money you currently have in your account. You have to check a graph from like last time you withdrew to current times to give you a baseline for what you have. It's weird, unorthodox. Alright. Ew. That'll be enough, I guess, for today. Oh, there's a... I took a voice acting class yesterday, and, there was... It's interesting. It's a 12-week long process, and once every Wednesday or so, live video conference with, people, which is pretty cool. Currently I'm doing it in town because I can't do it here. I don't think I could effectively. New emote. Cool. I can't quite tell what it is. Looks like I should know that person, but I can't tell. Too small of a picture. Maybe my eyes are going bad. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking forward to more of it. And I apparently have homework. Some daily exercises, and maybe I'll work on it on stream. I gotta do auditions, do one of these sites. Oh yeah, that site. It's still up, ain't it? Yep, it's still up. Yep. There we go. So yeah, it's Casting Call Club. That's the site that had the classes. So I didn't quite feel like doing it this morning because I did it last night, came home, went to sleep, and woke back up to here. I'll do it maybe tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, I got to do 10 editions in a week, which is a lot better than my current 0 ever. Not sure how we'll go about it, but anywho, it was pretty cool, pretty interesting. But it was also the first class of basically just an overview of what we're gonna go over, so we didn't really learn much other than the basic outline. So, Umineko, where we left off, the player battler, the peace battler, excellent, yep, I'm gonna be working at that stuff. The peace battler and Erica-chan solved the riddle and then brought the entire family into the gold room, and we found out that that is in fact all real. And now that it all is common knowledge within the family, they are trying to figure out if Battler is the new head as opposed to Kraus, and Kraus and Natsuhi have their whole scheme kind of falling apart at the seams right now. Revenge against me, and revenge. And we have Beatrice. We were trying to figure out what Beatrice's motive is, and why she's doing the things she's doing. And what we come up with is it's all about Battler, us, apparently, and how she wants revenge against us or something. But And we also have heard from the Red Truth that Battler is not the culprit. But he is always the one left alive last. In all the games, he's always last to die if he is to. More and more Red Truth makes this a lot harder to figure out. Anywho. We'll soldier on. Don't stop thinking. You already knew there was some kind of sin. Yes, but it was me. I didn't do any sin. I haven't done anything wrong. But yeah, it's... Apparently it doesn't involve Beatrice either. Which makes it even more confusing why she hates us for something we did that wasn't about her, and I don't know. And also, I don't know, it's just some weird stuff. Anywho. She wants revenge against me? So, is she performing the epitaph murders to make me feel fear? Oh yeah, one other thing that I've noticed in this game, I have said the word epitaph more times than I have ever done in my entire life in this game. It's kind of crazy. They like that word here. So, is she performing the epitaph murders to make me feel fear? That's wrong. Her goal is not to make someone experience fear, and it isn't to have revenge on someone either. In that case, the epitaph murders really don't mean anything to her. The epitaph's riddle is meaningless, and the corresponding epitaph murders are also meaningless. X equals Y equals 0. But even so, she's clearly trying to show these meaningless things to me. What could she want from me? That it'd be worth the same to her as something meaningless? I don't get it. The more I think about it, the less I understand what she's thinking. Beatrice, the fickle witch who committed a meaningless, worthless string of serial murders. Even the epitaph's riddle, which that witch used as the trigger that could suspend the serial murders, is meaningless, immaterial. And yet, she's thrusting this meaningless, immaterial thing in front of my face. What is it that you want from me? That's a guy statement. Or else, what is it that you're giving me? My idea that Beato had clearly been taking revenge on me has already been denied by Virgilia's Red Truth, both X and Y. The epitaph murders and the epitaph riddle hold no meaning for Beatrice. X equals Y equals 0. However, since she's thrusting those things in front of me, they must have some meaning. She showed us the scales representing, if you don't solve the epitaph, I'll carry out the epitaph murders. In other words, neither the epitaph murders nor the epitaph's riddle have any significance by themselves. However, it becomes meaningful when she puts both halves on the scales and puts them on display before us. No, before me. In other words, it should be like this. X equals 0, Y equals 0. X plus Y is greater than 0. A scale with meaningless, weightless things on both sides. However, it has weight itself, and gives the rest meaning. It's almost like playing. Like kids playing rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors is an extremely familiar method of randomly determining a winner and loser. You sometimes wager some sort of reward on the outcome. But kids often do rock, paper, scissors just to play, without betting anything in particular. Unless you bet something, you have nothing to gain or lose except happiness and frustration. In other words, the two sides of the scale, both winning and losing, are immaterial. However, the very act of seeing which way it will tip is the reason kids play rock, paper, scissors. After all, the kids are enjoying the communication that surrounds the game, and they aren't purely interested in the value of winning or losing. They aren't overly concerned about who wins and who loses. That would mean it doesn't matter to Beato whether the epitaph murders succeed or not. It almost feels like she's enjoying the process. In the past, I cursed her, deciding that she was a heartless witch who kept murdering people for no reason. But right now, I can't imagine that's true. Thank you. In that case, I'll give you one more line of red. Beato never committed murder for the sake of pleasure. She didn't do it for pleasure, and she didn't do it to make anyone feel fear. Since she has nothing to gain, she doesn't care whether the epitaph murders succeed or fail. It's almost like a random game kids would play. That's not right. It does have meaning. It has meaning for her. And what is this meaning? I don't get it. Even though both sides of the scale are immaterial, the scale itself has some weight to it in her eyes. Of course, it isn't meaningless. Some meaning definitely exists. In the previous game, she urged me to remember my sin of 6 years ago. Am I supposed to believe that was meaningless too? No. That definitely isn't the case. I clearly remember the serious gaze Beato had back then. Unfortunately, I didn't have a clue what she meant. When she saw that, she was horribly dejected. That's right. At that time, I'm sure she even went so far as to say that the crime wouldn't have occurred if I hadn't come. It does have meaning. It means something to her. And it's connected to something she wants from me. I laughed softly and poked Beato lightly on the head, then patted her head. Next time you want to send a love letter, I suggest you just write, "I love you." If you make it too roundabout and confusing, no one's going to be able to figure it out. That is quite true. I got some advice for any of you ladies out there. If you want to write a love letter or tell somebody how you feel, just do it. Guys are pretty blunt. We don't pick up on hints, like, at all. We have like a 5% rate of picking up what you're trying to say, if it's not direct. I still don't have a clue what she's thinking. Even so, I won't stop thinking. I've only just started spinning the chessboard around. I definitely won't give up on this journey in search of your thoughts. You need to put like a top on the chessboard so you can just like spin it around. And try not to let it near any windows so it doesn't break stuff. Umineko no Naku Koro Nichiro, Nocturne of Truth and Illusion. Hi. Battler did nothing but gaze blankly out the window. The fighting between the relatives went on without end. At first, the relatives had crowded around the study. However, no matter how much they knocked, the master of the study did not answer even once. Eva and several others said they should open the door with the second key, the one Genji held. However, in a flash of brilliance, Natsuki said that Kinzo had been in a particularly bad mood and had taken back the key he'd previously given Genji, which meant that he now had both keys himself. She claimed that this was the reason they couldn't open the door. After she promised to let them meet Kinzo tomorrow morning, no matter what, they finally returned to the dining hall. But of course, the argument continued on, even there. Eva's group needed a lot of cash very soon, and they were trying to threaten Kraus somehow and make him pay up. Apparently, Battler solving the epitaph threatened Krause's position as his successor, which gave the others a powerful tailwind. On the other side, Krause and Natsuhi based their arguments on the claim that it had never been specified that ownership of the gold would be handed over to the person who solved the epitaph. It hadn't been hidden gold, but simply Kinzo's stockpile, and it was still Kinzo's property, which meant it would naturally be distributed after Kinzo's death with the rest of the inheritance. Once they made that claim, Eva's group once again started demanding to be allowed to see Kinzo. It had probably been obvious to them from the beginning. This sibling fight could only be settled by Kinzo. This is obviously a confrontation between Eva's group, which wanted cash fast, and Krause, who was hiding his lack of funds, but still didn't need money right away. As he listened vaguely to this exchange, Battler marveled at how, despite their usual affluence of heirs, they were surprisingly deep in debt. Didn't you say the same thing a short while ago? Enough. Let's take a break. We're all repeating the same things over and over again. According to the clock, it was almost midnight. It certainly was a perfect time for a break. The atmosphere relaxed just a bit. I agree. It'll be good for both sides to take a breather. Hey, why don't we start keeping a record when we start up again? I'm tired of fighting over what was or what wasn't said. Seriously. We really can't do without a record of proceedings. Not when Nissan can so easily deny something he said before the words stop reverberating off the walls. A mere written record would be a pain, and it'd be an easy target for forgery. Good point. Aniki, want to fire this up? A tape set, is it? I see. This way, we can keep a record without bothering to write it down, and forgery will be impossible. It's fair for both sides. Make sure you don't mess anything up. Those are Father's precious music tapes. The dignified tape set had a sense of weight to it that matched this majestic dining hall perfectly. On pleasant Sunday mornings, it would sometimes be used to play famous tapes or records. However, right now, it was the most neutral and impartial conference record keeper around. Rudolph fished randomly around the cassette rack, searching for a blank tape. And every time he found some tape with sophisticated music on it, he'd complain about how pompous it was. Tapes. This game is showing its age. Pardon me. You called? We're taking a break. Sorry, but could you make us something to drink? And maybe some biscuits would be nice too. Certainly. I will see to it right away. Also, sorry, but do you have any cold medicine? I've been feeling a bit feverish. Then don't overstrain yourself. Get some sleep. If you really feel like it, why not get some sleep, Rosa? Of course, I wouldn't step out of such an important conference because of a simple cold. And remember how well that turned out, Eva? Really? Allow me to take a rest as well. Natsuhi, why don't we take a short rest too? Yes, dear. Sensing that he meant to have a strategy meeting, Natsuhi stood up. Even if that hadn't been the case, she was so desperate to get out of the room, even for a moment, that she'd have taken any excuse. Krause and Natsuhi left the dining hall, and the tension in the room truly relaxed. You've been doing great, Battler-kun. I imagine you feel just horrible. Think of this as part of growing up and just accept it. Just how long am I going to have to sit around here doing nothing? Who knows? After all, you're like our own portable shrine. Sleepy? About as much as your average school class. I'm pretty sure Father isn't going to show up tonight anyway. When Klaus-Nisan and the rest come back, I'll propose that we might as well let you go. I'll be counting on you. Knock, knock. A light knock and the faint sound of china clinking together could be heard. Excuse us. We brought tea. Shannon and Cannon had come by with a serving cart. The pleasant smell of black tea had the effect of relieving a bit of the tension. Yo. Hey. Did you hear? Hear about what? We haven't heard anything. Stop it, Rudolph. There's no reason to tell them. We are furniture, so we have no interest in matters concerning the family conference. I see. That's a wise answer. You have the midnight shift? That must be rough. That is our job. We would be happy to receive your orders. Makes sense to me. At least that'd be better than sitting around, awake, doing nothing. When I was still down in the bottom rungs, I once worked as a warehouse keeper. Even if you're just staying awake, it's still pretty tough. Right after the war, you had robbers all over the place. Plus, you couldn't rely on the police back then, so it was a pretty dangerous time. Hideyoshi was particularly proud of how he'd started with nothing and built up assets by illegally diverting goods from the American army. Once the subject came up, Hideyoshi tended to get pretty talkative. The relatives who knew this were greatly relieved to see that a perfect sacrifice had come up. If you got found out, you were in for it big time. Those Americandy people are scary. Their strength's in another league because of all that beef they eat. If you got caught, it'd end with them shooting you, or death by hanging. Get it? Death by hanging. Oh yeah, and then I figured it out. It's all about the meat. Japanese people gotta eat more meat. And that's when I got the revelation that I needed to start up a business to win over people's stomachs. I see. That must have been quite a difficult task. Stop it, dear. No matter how much you tell people born after the war, they'll never understand how we suffered back then. Oops. Looks like my bad habits jumped out again. Sorry. You two should have some tea as well. Every now and then, I think it might be helpful for you to use your own tongues to learn more about the tea you're always brewing. No, we'll be fine. There's no need to be concerned for our sakes. Hang out with us for a bit. Being surrounded by adults makes me feel like I'm gonna suffocate. Hear that? That's an order from Battler-sama, the successor. Sit over there and have some tea with us. Then you can talk about that recent events, your hobbies, TV shows you're watching, and whatever it is that's popular with the kids these days. There's a lot we could learn. That's a brilliant idea. Come on, you two sit down too. And why don't you become sacrifices for us now that we crave something to talk about? That's right. I thought it'd be nice to talk to some young kids. But that'd be pretty hard when I'm too old, even to go to a cabaret club. Cabaret, huh? How long are you planning on standing around there? Rudolph told you to sit. Boomers. Zoomers. Apparently, I'm not getting all of my chat. Rudolph told you to sit. Sit down. I give you permission as well. After getting Eva's permission, Shannon and Cannon looked at each other, and finally obeyed, nervously. For a while, the two were pounded by questions and became the relatives' playthings. Then, a reserved knocking sound could be heard. All of the servants tended to knock in a similar manner, so no one found it strange. However, Shannon and Ken turned around with surprised looks on their faces. The servants here today included the two of them, Genji, Kumasawa, and Goda. Goda had the midnight shift at the guest house. Kumasawa had gone to bed in a spare room in the guest house. The two of them were right here, so Genji was the only person left. But they knew very well that Genji wouldn't knock like that. Who is it? It's not locked. Just come in. Erica. Rudolph didn't recognize the knock either. When he asked who is it, it became apparent that no one knew whose knock it was. After that, the same knock, knock repeated just once more. Could it be that someone had their hands full and was asking that the door be opened for them? As a slightly odd feeling began to encompass the room, the sound of the large clock in the hall could be heard. It was a sign that October 4th had ended, and October 5th had begun. Let's step back in time a bit. At this time, Kraus and Natsuhi were a ways off, in a deserted corridor on the second floor. So, we no longer have any other options. Yes, the same move probably won't last us all day tomorrow. If we hesitate any longer, there's a chance Iva-san and the others will call the police, claiming that we have father locked up somewhere. This is as far as we can go. Battler-kun fighting the gold was completely unexpected. If that hadn't happened, I thought of a plan which might have managed to get us through this somehow. This always happens when I bet on something. Something unexpected always happens. And something that should have been an absolute certainty goes wrong. Let's arrange for Father's room to be empty starting tomorrow morning. Let's plan it out with Genji, and have him say he saw Father heading out into the forest early in the morning. I doubt Eva and the others will simply accept such a disappearance. I'm fully aware of that. However, we have no other options. If we do such a thing, Eva and the others will doubtless make a fuss that our actions were suspicious. They aren't worried about appearances as long as they can squeeze some money out of us. It might end up in some odd magazine about serious damage to the confidence placed in me. Damage is something we can live with, right? If by any chance Father's secret is discovered, we'll face a lot worse than mere damage. There's nothing wrong with persisting until the last possible second tomorrow. If we're able to make it through safely, we won't have to lose anything. There's no need to get impatient and use that trump card. You want to wait until after they start clamoring about how we've locked Father up, and then say he's gone missing? That way it would invite much more suspicion. Let's just put Father to rest now. To go any further would be impossible. Calm yourself. Being exposed to even the other's venom too much has made you lose your composure. That's all. Only 2 keys exist and can let anyone into that study. And you have both of them, right here. That means no one can go inside. That door is of a very special make. No matter what kind of tools they bring out to the storage room, it won't even budge. It isn't a physical problem like that. Please, don't be hasty. Calm down. In any event, you can pretend to have gotten a fever and stay in bed. In the meantime, I will overcome all of this for you. I can't leave everything to you. I'll fight until the end too. When Natsuhi could no longer hold back the tears brought on by her fierce emotions, Kraus held her gently. Just how long had it been since the last time she'd felt the warmth of her husband's compassion? Your headache must be awful, yes? It's always that way when you wrinkle your forehead like that. Dear. She had come to think that her husband could never guess the way she felt. But at times like this, let's wait for the very last moment before using our disappearance trump card. It's like a last resort treasured sword. It's best when it remains in its sheath. The important thing is that you're ready to pull it out at any time, right? I understand that. Would you let me handle that trump card? Of course, at the final moment, I will take all of the responsibility. I won't get you and Jessica involved. What do you mean by that? When the Ushiriya family is destroyed, it is enough that I alone am crushed in the rubble. When the typhoon passes, let's make sure we're ready to file for divorce. I will sign the papers and let you hold on to them. I secretly left some of my assets in your name. If you add on some compensation money, that should be enough for you and Jessica to live on without any hindrances. No! Ushimiya Natsuhi is the name that should be engraved on my tombstone. Please let me be with you until the last moment. Even if it turns out that you're the last head of the Ushimiya family. Please, let Natsuhi be the name of the wife of the final head. Your wife. Kraus's existence was founded solely upon the trust and power of his assets as a financial fixer. If either of those weakened, nothing would remain. If they used the trump card of Kinzo's disappearance, they would lose one of these two essential supports. It was like offering your right arm in exchange for your neck being cut. It was probably better than losing your head, but you still might die from the blood loss. And even on the off chance you did survive, you'd have to bear a heavy wound that wouldn't heal for the rest of your life. Kraus was prepared, even for death. Understanding this, Natsuhi buried her face in Kraus's chest and cried. Seeing some new sides of Kraus. My apologies for interrupting. The sudden appearance of Genji's voice made Natsuhi jump back and hurriedly wipe the tears from her eyes. Kraus stood in front of Natsuhi, shielding her. Genji-san. Please don't sneak up on us. Do you have some business? Yes. My apologies, but I have something to report to Madame. To me? Dear. I don't mind. Kraus left Natsuhi's side, went to a window a short ways off, and gazed at the windy and rainy rose garden. Natsuhi went with Genji to a place a short distance away. What is it? Well, the truth is, another phone call has come for you, madam. At that moment, a sudden, eerie sound surprised her. It was the large clock in the hall announcing midnight. You don't mean that man? Again? Yes. What is to be done? Did he say what business he had with me? I can give you no answer on that matter. He kept insisting that he wanted to speak to you directly. Again, a phone call from the man who claimed to be taking revenge for something that happened 19 years ago. 19 years ago. That was just 1 year before Jessica and Battler were born. In Natsuhi's eyes, the gap between 19 years ago and 18 years ago was immense. For a long time, she had been unable to fulfill her role of creating a successor for the Ushimiya family, and had been treated very coldly. But then, she finally gave birth to Jessica, and became able to call herself the Ushimiya successor's wife with her head held high. So, in her eyes, Ushimiya Natsuhi began 18 years ago. That's why everything before that, including the events of 19 years ago, contain nothing but hateful memories. And something from the last year of that hateful period is whispering vengeful words from the other end of the phone. I can still hear the roar of the sea. What is to be done? Transfer it to my room. Don't let my husband know. As you wish. From the very beginning, Genji had guessed that she wouldn't want Kraus hearing about this phone call. That's why he had told Natsuhi covertly. Natsuhi ordered that he transfer the call, told Kraus that she would turn in for the night, and left at a quick pace. She returned to her room and locked the door. There was nothing peculiar about that. In the Ushimiya family, hallways are like public roads. There's no special meaning in locking the door when you enter your own room. This is what she told herself. Then, as though it had been waiting for her, the telephone rang. Genji had probably transferred the call. She took a deep breath, readied herself, and picked up the receiver. Hello. Again, this started with silence. She realized that the person at the other end was trying to irritate her and make her feel uncomfortable, and she got angry. Why are you silent? I'm hanging up. Do not hang up, mother. I want to hear your voice a little longer. Again, that unpleasant voice. Are you trying to mock me? Tell me what you want. I want to play with you, mother. What? What are you talking about? I have no desire to play with you. You're tired from the family conference, right? Is that chronic headache of yours getting to be a pain? That's none of your business. Just the fact that he knew her headache was troubling her made a shiver run up her spine. You get headaches because your head is all stiff. If you go straight to bed like that, you cannot expect to have good dreams. Haven't I told you that's none of your business? I'm hanging up. Natsui forcefully yelled that she was hanging up, but in actuality she couldn't. After all, being at the receiving end of a phone call was much better than the alternative. If she hung up violently, this person might then call someone else. Let us play a game to help you relax. I will not take up much of your time. I have no intention of playing with you. Your name is Natsuhi, mother. It has the kanji for a season in it. Pretty nice name. However, just because your name is Natsuhi, that does not necessarily mean you like summer. Which season do you really like, mother? You think I'll tell you? If you do not, I will hang up. Is that alright? It was clearly a threat. It meant that if she forced him to hang up the phone, anything might happen. Humiliated that she was forced to give in to a threat made by a man whose name she didn't even know, she gave him the answer he wanted. It's autumn. Why? Because it's an easy season to pass the time in. There's no other reason in particular. Are you satisfied now? Yeah, I am satisfied. So, looks like your favorite season really is the same as mine. I like autumn too. Liar. You just made that up. Surely this man would have done the same thing no matter which season I said I liked. What is he after? What's so fun about making me uncomfortable like this? It's not nice to call someone a liar. I am not making it up. I already knew you liked Autumn, Mother. There is even proof. Proof? Yeah? Is there a clock in your room, Mother? A clock? Yes, there is. But what's your point? In Natsuhi's room, there was a beautiful antique clock with an intricate design. Kraus had bought it for her as a birthday present long ago. It's 7 past midnight right now. I'm tired, so please get this farce over with quickly. Try lifting the clock up. Why? You really do not know when to shut up. Stop resisting every single time I say something. Just shut up and do what I say. The tone of the man's voice suddenly went low, turning into a threat. It made his displeasure clear. At first, this man seemed to have a calm way of speaking, but on the inside, that wasn't the case at all. If she enraged this man even a little more, he would surely show his true nature right away. Are you really that eager to make me hang up? Things are best when I talk on the phone with you. I can tell your husband and daughter about what happened 19 years ago, anytime I want to. I don't know what you're talking about, but please don't get my husband and daughter involved. I'm listening to everything you say. Then just do what you were told. Once again, the man threatened her in a low voice, as though warning her not to interrupt again. Hello, hello. My head was filled with the pain from my headache, the sound of my beating heart, and the roar of the sea. I can't disobey him anymore. As the man had ordered, I lifted up the antique clock. There lay what appeared to be a single playing card. Is it the warranty for the clock? Thinking this, she took it and turned it over. Are you wide awake now? Why? Why is this here? Well, it would please me if your headache's gone down a bit. Tell me that you are happy, Mother. How did you? Why? How? I want to say you are happy, Mother. I want to hear you say you are happy, murderer. How dare you act like a normal, neat freak mother? You make me want to vomit. Do you want that to land on your husband and daughter as well? You don't, right? You want me to keep quiet, don't you? Okay, I'll keep quiet. Come on. Aren't you happy? Aren't you? I'm happy. I'm happy. So please, stop. Don't bring my husband and daughter into this. What is it you want? Money? How much? I do not want money. My wounds could not be healed with any amount of money. But there is a medicine. That is right. It is like a kind of ointment. Thick, syrupy, and dribbling. And that is my hatred, my resentment towards you. Slathering myself with that is the only way to hold back the pain. Natsuhi had never had anything so hateful said to her in her entire life, so she suspected many times that she must be having some sort of bad dream. However, this definitely wasn't a dream. You couldn't possibly be on this island right now, are you? I am. Did I not promise you? I said I would be at the family conference. That's impossible. There's no way you could have come during this typhoon. That would be no problem if I came before the typhoon reached here. And I'm pretty sure this guest called Erica or whatever arrived even during the typhoon. Her blood froze. Fruto Erica had supposedly been brought here by coincidence. If he knew that name, he would have to be very close by. Where are you? I will not appear in front of anyone until you introduce me. Do not worry. Oh, yes. It is useless to try and search for me. Your mansion is huge, and you have no shortage of phones I could be calling from. Besides, I'm sure you do not want to meet me, right? Or else, do you want to expose me and introduce me to everyone? Introduce me to Jessica, too. Tell her I am her older brother by 1 year. Stop it! Stay away from Jessica! I guess I have scared you a bit too much. That is all for me, for tonight. But do not forget, you cannot disobey me. Understand, Mother? Yes. I'm going to hang up for the night, but I have an order that must be followed until tomorrow morning. What is it? You may no longer leave that room tonight, and you may not make a phone call to anywhere. If a phone call comes for you, you are not allowed to take it. You will turn the lights off right now, get in bed, and sleep. Then you will wake up at your ordinary time. It sure is nice to live a healthy life. Here I am, says a good son, working so hard for the sake of my mother's body. I understand. I'll go to sleep right now. I won't leave my room, and I won't pick up the phone. So, don't involve my husband and daughter. As long as you follow my orders, I will keep your secret, Mother. Do not disobey me. I am already very close by to you. I can easily tell whether you have turned your lights off or whether you are on the phone. If I wish to, I could even kiss your sleeping face. I'll keep it. I'll keep my promise. So stop it. Just stop it. Stop it! As she screamed, Natsuhi took the card she had found under the clock and crushed it up into a little ball. It had a pattern on it, like a tarot card, and also the kanji for autumn. I was half expecting it to be a photo of something incriminating. Let's step back in time once again. Right now, it is the exact moment that the large clock in the hall announced midnight. Wondering who the person who knocked twice was, the relatives in the dining hall stared at the door. Rudolph told them to come in, but there was no answer. Until the end of that long tone marking the arrival of midnight, which had come from the large clock in the hall shortly after the knock, they were unable to move in the slightest. Maybe their hands are full and they can't open it. Maybe. But it's a bit creepy that they won't say their name. Should I open it? Do so. Kanna nodded back, then slowly opened the door. Huh? What's that? It's one of Father's envelopes. Right behind the open door, on the floor of the hallway, lay the envelope. There's no one in the hallway. Perhaps they placed this here and left. The adults flew into the corridor as well, but they could find no trace of anyone who might have knocked on the door. Just about an hour ago, Shannon and Cannon had come in to serve tea. At that time, everyone had seen that nothing lay in that spot. Someone came, knocked, left an envelope with the mark of the one-winged eagle on it, and left. Could it have been the master? It's not unthinkable. Father's pretty much the only person in this mansion who would refuse to answer when asked who he was. That's not possible. If that were the case, why wouldn't Father come in here openly? That's right. Father probably just barged in here without knocking. The doors and windows of the mansion are locked now, right? In that case, the only people who could have conceivably left a letter here are Krause-san, Natsuhi-san, and Genshi-san. By this point, The mansion had been completely locked up. Therefore, the cousins in the guest house, Nanjo, Goda, Kumasawa, and Erika, could not have come here. Furthermore, since Kraus, Natsuhi, and Genji were the only three who weren't in this room, one of those three had to have been the one who sent the letter down into the corridor. So, it was very likely that Kraus and the others had placed the letter there, to make it seem like a message from Kinzo. I see. It'll have something written on it that's supposedly in Father's name, saying that he won't accept Battler as his successor, or something of the sort. Ridiculous. I can't believe you try to pull such a childish trick, Nissan. Well, it's not like I gave a damn about being the successor. Give it up. That's just your fate. Anyway, why don't we read what's inside? Rudolph set the letter on the dining hall table and let everyone see the front and back, to show that there were no tricks or hidden mechanisms, almost like a magician does before performing his act. Can we be sure this envelope is one of Father's? Yeah, no doubt about it. Father liked to use this kind of envelope for handwritten letters. What do you think, Shannon-chan? Yes, to my eyes as well. Looks like the type of envelope that the master uses. That doesn't mean Father was the one who wrote it. It would be pitifully easy for Nissan to snatch one of those from a drawer in Father's study. Even Kraus-sama would not be able to enter the study easily. It might be hard for him to steal the envelope. Let's try opening it. We can worry about all that later. Feels like there's something in it. I wonder what. Rudolph opened the envelope a bit roughly. Then a folded letter and a glittering object fell out. It was a ring. Huh? Wait a second. Isn't that ring? Eva noticed it immediately and grabbed at it. This is Father's ring, isn't it? It's the head's ring. Why is it that? Seriously? Are you sure it's Father's? Could it be a replica? No, this is the real thing. I've always dreamed about wearing this ring on my finger someday. Even though Father wore this on his finger, I know more about it than anyone else. This is Father's ring, no doubt about it. Why is it here? Does that mean it really was Father who wrote this letter? The sender isn't Father. It's much more interesting than that. Then, who is the letter from? The Ushimiya family alchemist. It's from the Golden Witch, Beatrice-sama. Rudolph showed everyone the part of the letter where that was written. It really did say that. It's from Beatrice? What's it say? I'll read it. Congratulations. I acknowledge that Battler-sama spectacularly solved the epitaph riddle and reached the Golden Land. All the gold belongs to Battler-sama. Furthermore, Battler-sama is the new head of the Ushimiya family. As proof, I send the head's ring, which Kinzo-sama left in my charge. Battler-sama, I beg that you take the ring, become the new master of the gold, and guide the Ushimiya family. I sincerely pray that you flourish as the new head. What the hell? I see. Dad just won't come out of his study. So Beatrice, the Witch of the Forest, has acknowledged Battler directly. Battler, good. You take that ring. This is a special ring to be worn by the family head. I don't know who this Beatrice is, but she's watched the whole thing and sent you this ring after acknowledging you as the true successor. Is that okay? It's such an important ring. Yeah, it's fine. You should wear it proudly on your finger. Got it? Even if Aniki and Natsui-ne-san tell you to take it off, you'd better not do it. All of the relatives, with creepy smiles on their faces, urged Battler to put the ring on his finger. It looked like things would get pretty nasty if he refused, so Battler reluctantly decided to put it on the middle finger of his left hand. The ring was heavy and stiff. At that moment, Kraus returned. Genji came back as well, shortly behind him. My apologies. It seems my wife is not at her best, so she's gone to bed early. Did something happen? You all seemed incredibly flustered. Battler-sama. Isn't that? Immediately, Genji keenly spotted that which Battler had put on his finger. Your eyesight's pretty good, Genji-san. Looks like you know whose ring this is. What? What are you talking about? Judging by Kraus's dubious expression, it seemed unlikely that he was the one who placed the letter there. Furthermore, that expression quickly changed into one of shock. That's right. It's the Ushimiya family head's ring. The family conference took up this new topic, and the storm came once again. What a crazy family. Really? It's a long time to be arguing about things. The rain was still pouring down as hard as ever. This weather was supposed to continue all day tomorrow as well, which made me feel a bit depressed. Oh, wait. Given the time, I should say today, not tomorrow. But that doesn't really matter now. I'm sleepy. With half-asleep eyes, I opened my umbrella. The large drops of rain pounded mercilessly against it. Technically, the end of the family conference had been declared at 1 a.m., but external scuffles kept continuing sluggishly. I'm really jealous of Aunt Rosa, who managed to slip out of there at that time. She cleverly got away by saying that she'd check on Maria, who might have been staying up too late. Dad caught me, ruining my chance to escape, and they made me stick around until now, 3 a.m. So, what have they decided on after all this time? Nothing at all. They just kept on arguing about who said what, like elementary school kids. I'm sure they're tired too. That's probably why they keep dragging on with the same pointless questions. I no longer felt any shock or anger towards them. I guess drowsiness is the best painkiller. I left them behind and finally returned to the guest house. When I got back to the guest house, the first floor lounge was lit. I could even hear people chatting inside. Apparently, some people were still awake even this late. Despite the late hour, Goda-san and Dr. Nanjo were still up and chatting. Plates and cups were lined up on the counter, and it looked almost like a bar with Goda-san as the bartender. When they noticed I had returned, they seemed to finally realize how late it was. When Goda-san made to top off Dr. Nanjo's glass, the latter declined with an exaggerated gesture. That's enough, that's enough. It's already too late to be up. Look how late it's gotten. You were such a good person to chat with, I hardly noticed. If so, it's all thanks to your liquor. We'll have to do this again sometime. Yes, gladly. Battler-sama, welcome back. Is the discussion with Kraus-sama and the others still continuing? The way things were going, it looks like they might plod on until dawn. None of my business. I spoke carelessly with a big yawn. I have quite a lot of stamina. I'm surprised. Oh, so you're here too. With one thing and another, they ended up having a small night party here. And they let me join in. Don't worry, I haven't said a word about that. Erica could be seen on the sofa. She had taken her shoes off and was lounging around as though she owned the place. Erika-sama is very knowledgeable on a variety of subjects. I enjoyed listening to her immensely, because of course, your knowledge truly is extensive. Very impressive for one so young. You're very welcome. I, Furudo Erika, know quite a bit about trifles such as this. Erika grabbed the corners of her skirt and posed. That was somewhat less than graceful, considering that she was lounging on the sofa with her feet up. Where is Aunt Rosa? She returned at 1 a.m., but she went straight upstairs to sleep. That's probably true. After taking part in that conference for so long, I feel like flopping down in bed right away myself. I've had it. I'm tired enough that I might flop over right there. Well then, let's call it a night. Don't you have to get up early tomorrow morning to make breakfast, Goda-san? Preparations for breakfast have already been made. I would be most pleased if you look forward to it. In Goda-san's eyes, the family conference is an open stage on which to display his culinary skills. Maybe this invigorates him so much that he doesn't even get sleepy. Erika stood up, laughing at how youthful Goda was. This became a sign that it was time to disperse. I will clean up here. Please, go and sleep, everyone. Leaving the cleanup to Goda-san, I went to the bathroom and then climbed the stairs to the second floor. Good night, everyone. These old bones have stayed up a little too late. Good night, Dr. Nanjo. Good night, Bachelor-san. Yeah, good night. Then, in the second floor hallway, we split up. Dr. Nanjo went to his own room. Erika went to her room. And I returned to the cousin room. I couldn't hear any sounds of playing coming from our room. Could they have fallen asleep already? No surprise, at this time of night. If they were still playing, they would have been staying up way too late. When I opened the door, quietly, as expected, the room was already pitch black, except for a small nightlight. Everyone was already sleeping in their beds. I'm sure they all had a great time and played a ton. Then they probably talked about useful things and enjoyed staying up late. If only I hadn't found the gold, I could have enjoyed my time with them. I'm already tired. So tired. Forgetting even to change my clothes or brush my teeth, I crawled into bed and immediately began to descend into the marshes of sleep. Today's been so insane. I wonder if that old bastard is still in that family conference now. How does he not get tired? Come to think of it, what was it that old bastard said when we parted company? Tomorrow, there's something important I want to talk about. As a family. It's about you. I'm sure it's more stuff about being the successor. I don't even want to hear about it. If I tell you about this, I'll probably be killed. I'll kill you whenever you want, you old bastard. And then, what was it he said next? It's about your birth. My birth? Probably just something about the noble Ushimiya lineage. Not interested. Just let me sleep. Umineko no Nakukoro ni Chido, Nocturne of Truths and Illusions. I have a sneaking suspicion about what's happening, but I don't know. I think I'm thinking different than what it actually is. Like usual. The sound of crashing waves, the sound of the tide surging, the noise of the sea breeze. Whenever my headache torments me, these are the sounds that fill my head. Unable to bear a successor, I was in a very difficult position with regard to the Shumia family. Whenever I heard of a drug or incense that could make you achieve pregnancy, I tried it, but nothing had any effect. Until I was blessed with Jessica, 18 years ago, I was ashamed to even call myself a wife. Children are created by the efforts of two people and the whims of heaven. It's not fair to place all the blame on yourself. I still don't know what caused my inability to become pregnant. I even went to see noted physicians. I underwent humiliating examinations, but I was always just told that they didn't understand the reason. Even though quite some time had passed since your marriage, you still couldn't bear a child. I see. It's only natural that Eva, who secretly aspired to become the successor, would start getting ideas. Eva tried to convince father that I was a failure as the successor's wife. There was a time when Kinzo was also very disappointed by my husband's repeated business failures. On the other hand, Eva's husband, Hideyoshi's business, was growing well, completely the opposite of my husband's. He was the only person who could bring father good news. So, perhaps father couldn't be blamed if he decided to lend an ear to Eva's words, or even accept them completely. It was all my fault, because I couldn't bear a child. You are sinless. Aren't babies of this country carried here by storks? If anyone is to be judged, blame the stork. Thank you. However, even though he was still in good health then, the head was already well past his prime. It's not hard to imagine that he wanted to see his grandchildren's faces as soon as possible. Who cares? If he wanted a grandchild, he could have just done what he wanted with that appalling amount of money he had. This is Kinzo, the man who always bragged about how money could create anything. If he wanted a grandchild, why couldn't he just manage something with that money he was so proud of? Yes, that's right. The head gave up on me when I couldn't bear a child, and did just that. The head gave to many charities, thinking it the duty of anyone in possession of so much money. One among these, an orphanage known as the Fukuin House, had been given especially large donations, possibly because he had old ties with that place. The Fukuin House. Furniture came from that place quite often. To provide on-the-job training and preparation for life as a working adult, the head employed Fukuin House children with exceptional grades as servants. All of the servants in the mansion with "on" in their names, such as Shannon, Canon, Lunan, Manon, and Leon, came from there. There were quite a lot of them who weren't there, but most quit after just a few years. That's probably because a few years of wages from working here would earn them more than enough to live on their own. Experience as a servant for the Umineko family would be a wonderful thing to add to their resume. I'm sure it was the head's ambition that they would gain this for themselves, then spread their wings in society. I see. So, an adopted child. Father, what did you just say? Accept this baby as my grandchild. Oh, there. Apparently, the baby that Kumasawa was trying to soothe didn't like the study air at all. It kept on crying, upset. My apologies, Father. What is it you just... Accept this baby as my grandchild, and raise it to be the one who succeeds Kraus. In other words, you want me to raise this baby as being my husband's own child? That's right. It's clear now that you cannot bear children. There must be some sort of defect in your body. Oh, there. there. As though she couldn't hear our discussion in the slightest, Kumasawa kept on trying to cuddle the baby. This made it cry even louder. What nonsense. If all responsibility of giving birth to children rested with the woman, there'd be no need for men in this world. I've never forgotten the bitter pain I felt that day. It's not as though I didn't want a child. However, no matter how much I prayed, I couldn't get pregnant. Thinking that something to do with my body might be the cause, I went to see several famous doctors. But even so, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't become pregnant. And in the end, this was the result. I see. The baby had been picked up by the Fukuin house just recently. Of course, she couldn't help but feel compassion for this child, who was so young and who had already lost its parents' affection. However, it brought me nothing but pain and sadness. It would have been another story if I had suffered to bear this child, but why should I be forced to hold this baby, who not only shared none of my blood, but who was not related to my husband in the slightest either? I don't hate father. If anything, I hated my own body. I detested it. I truly detested my own body for being unable to bear a child. So I prayed. I prayed to both angels and demons, and my wishes were granted by both. For what did you pray to, angels? I prayed for a miracle in my body. If there was something wrong with my body, I could accept that. In that case, I want to overcome the defect and somehow be granted the miracle of being given my husband's child. That wish was granted. The next year, you gave birth to Jessica. And for what did you pray to demons? I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it. I hated my body. So I hated this baby, because it made my failure so apparent. What did you wish for? For the first time, I prayed and made wishes to demons. I wish that this baby would just disappear. Of course, that wish was also granted by demons. On that day, I left the baby with an older servant and went to think about the future in the rose garden. No, that's a lie. I didn't want to think about anything. The baby's cries were annoying, so I ordered these servants to take the baby to a place where I couldn't hear. By a place where I couldn't hear, I meant somewhere far away. Yes, I wished for it. I wished for the servant to take the baby far away and never return. What a caring family we have here. I see. So, a passing demon heard your wish, Natsuhi-sama. And then, what happened next? After that, there was a bizarre accident that could only have been granted me by a demon. The woodland path from the rose garden to the harbor is probably well suited for a comfortable walk. It must surely feel good to occasionally leave the path and walk through a grove of trees, depending on your mood. However, wouldn't that path be fairly hard to travel on when taking a walk with a baby in your arms? There was a cliff on the other side. It was about 10 meters tall, I think. It was rocky below. There was also a fence there. Was it seem at all likely that the servant went to the trouble of walking there holding a baby, and then leaned against the fence? The only conceivable explanation is that she was lured there by the beckoning of a demon. She was lured there, wasn't she? By a demon who heard your wish. And then, the servant and the baby. They died. They fell from the cliff, down to the rocks below. No, they died because I wished it. That means this is... It isn't your fault. There's no need to think about it any further. But it happened because I wished it. No, that's wrong. Even if you wish for something, whether it comes true or not is decided by the whims of gods, demons, and witches. You are sinless. Humans are sinless. You can even say that I killed them. No, I did kill them. I saw your mourning and felt pity, so I lured the servant with the baby to the cliff and guided them down it. Wasn't it just an unfortunate accident? If you can't accept it as an accident, blame it on us. That's why demons exist. That's right. We're here for your sake. It's not like you killed them. We killed them. So you are sinless. So please, don't blame yourself, Natsuhi. Is that true? Am I truly sinless? No, you are. The young one who claims revenge for the events of 19 years ago. If you're going to curse someone, curse me. However, witches have a patent on curses. Let me take on this fight you're trying to pick with Natsuhi. I am the Ushimiya family alchemist, Beatrice the Golden. If anyone picks a fight with the master I serve, I will fight in my master's stead. Revenge for 19 years ago, you say? I'll show you that such is hardly a blink of an eye for a witch who's lived 1,000 years. So, you hate Natsuhi for wishing your death 19 years ago. Let me make you remember just who it was that lured you off that cliff. As the middle-aged female servant cuddled the sobbing baby, she walked on a small path through the trees. Natsuhi had told her that the baby was too loud, so she had tried to get as far from the rose garden as she could. She was completely unaware as to why she'd gone out of her way to head in this direction. However, the sobbing baby suddenly stopped crying. Something was reflected in its eyes, but the servant couldn't tell what. However, thinking that the baby had stopped because it had taken an interest in something, she headed in the direction of the baby's gaze. The baby had seen a cloud of gold butterflies disappearing off into the trees, and, on the other side of the trees, the servant could see a woman. Who? She didn't recognize this person, but it didn't look like anyone who was supposed to be here. The baby stopped crying and stared in that direction. Then, the servant's legs started to automatically carry her that way. Come this way, woman. Bring that cursed baby with you. The woman couldn't disobey. She was completely overwhelmed by Beato's gold glowing eyes. She walked lightly, as though through a dream world. At some point, the scenery surrounding her had changed, but she did not notice. She could not notice. Though this should have been Rakanjima, at some point it had become the garden of a mansion she had never seen before. It was a garden she had never set eyes on, even grander than the great rose garden of the Utrumia family, a garden of gold roses. There stood an arbor, and a woman wearing an elegant dress beckoning to her. There was a man who looked like a butler, and the tea he poured with a beautiful gesture had a very nice and enticing smell. It was as though they were telling her to join their tea party. She couldn't disobey. She had to go to the master of the Golden Rose Garden and give this child as an offering. Forgive me, woman. Curse your bad luck for being entranced by a witch. And, surrounded by these gold roses which you would never be able to enjoy in this world, sleep. Gap. Yes. Understood. When Gap snapped her fingers, a pitch-black hole opened at the woman's feet and she was swallowed up along with the baby. The scene of the moment that followed must have burned itself into the eyes of the woman and the baby. The two floated in the air and looked down at the gold rose garden spread out below them. Below their feet was not the earth, but a golden rose garden that stretched as far as the eye could see, without any gaps. If one could have the scene imprinted in their minds as their last memory, that would be such a merciful way to die. Then, the woman and the baby were swallowed up by the golden sea. The thunk was remarkably plain, and remarkably quiet for a sound that stole away 2 lives. However, it made for a perfectly suitable show at a tea party of witches. With the woman and the baby at the center, the rose garden was slowly swallowed up by darkness. The sound of the wind grew stronger, bit by bit. Is that TV static? What is that noise? It was the roar of the sea. The two had fallen into the thicket of golden roses from that great height and died, were gradually wrapped up in the roar of the sea, wrapped up in the scenery of the beach below the cliff. I guarantee it. You are completely sinless. I'll accept this revenge from 19 years ago. When I spotted the 2 of them on the rocks below, I went pale. Then I dashed back to the mansion, and there was a huge uproar. They took them to a hospital in a boat as soon as possible, but from that height, it was a miracle that they had even avoided an instant death. Both the servant and the baby died. In less than 3 days from the time Father had entrusted me with the baby, I had killed it. My husband had been on a business trip. Rosa-san, who had still lived on the island at the time, had been traveling with her friends. Father and I were the only ones on Rokujima, and before anyone except Father and I really knew anything, a baby had appeared out of nowhere, and then disappeared again. That's right, it was a dream, a nightmare. I was sure that Father would blame me. However, he seemed somehow strange. I saw this coming. I knew this would happen. How long will you struggle? How long will it be before you're mine? I have no interest in an empty cage. Throw it away. When Father learned of the accidental death, he kept on laughing and laughing as though there could be no greater pleasure, enough that just listening to it gave me a creepy feeling. Perhaps something had come loose in his mind. From that day onwards, Father shut himself up inside the world of the occult even more than he had ever before. When my husband came back, he was surprised to see that Father was even more bizarre than he had been before. However, he had already accepted this would happen sooner or later. Of course, my husband had heard about the baby. However, he told me that it was surely just some whim of Father's and to forget it. So I forgot it. It was an unfortunate accident. No, there wasn't an accident at all. I forgot everything, even that the baby had existed in the first place. After all, it was a twisted nightmare that lasted not even 3 days. That's right, it was all a nightmare. I don't want to remember. The cliff, the broken fence, the roar of the sea, and the cry of the baby. So, this baby is the baby from 19 years ago? Of course not. I killed that baby. It no longer exists in this world. However, there is no red truth in the human world. Nothing can be trusted there. That's right. Beto definitely killed that baby. However, you might find out that it's alive in the world of humans. Whether it's really alive or not. Right? Do you mean to say that it actually survived? After falling to the rocks from that height? I don't know. But calm down. No matter how much this person hates you, it was an accident. And that's the truth. If he does hate you, his hatred is completely unjustified. But, even if I didn't lay a finger on him, inside my heart, Calm down. No matter who the man from 19 years ago hates or what he yells at you, there's no way the sin he's after actually occurred. So calm down. Why don't I welcome the man from 19 years ago as my guest? Just when the riddle was solved and I thought my job was finished, I've got to entertain this final guest of mine. This begins to grow more interesting. Not only are you protecting Lord Goldsmith's secret, but you also have a 19th guest, as well as a man from 19 years ago. True, since we claim that Kinzo is alive, Erika is the 19th person. And besides that 19th person, we also have a man from 19 years ago. Oh, interesting. I'm getting all fired up. We have no lack of opponents, and I was just lamenting the fact that I had but one guest at my tea party. Come, you fools. Furudo Erika is Lady Burncastle's piece. In that case, whose piece is the man from 19 years ago? The voice, faintly seeping from the other end of the line, was Natsuhi's. I understand. I'll go to sleep right now. I won't leave my room, and I won't pick up the phone. So, don't involve my husband and daughter. Even this begging scream, which would shake the heart of any listener, could be listened to with a cold ruthlessness through the end of the receiver. As long as you follow my orders, I will keep your secret. Mother, do not disobey me. I am already very close by to you. I can easily tell whether you have turned your lights off, or whether you are on the phone. If I wish to, I could even kiss your sleeping face. I'll keep it. I'll keep my promise. So stop it. Just stop it. Stop it! The receiver was slammed down. He knew very well that the way you hang up a phone can leave a nasty aftertaste for the other side. Okay. Good night, Mother. And there you have it. Now Natsuhi won't come out of her room tonight. That's pretty handy. You can change your voice. Anyone can change their voice. A sweet voice when coaxing Papa, a sick-sounding voice when taking the day off school, an apologetic voice when turning down a friend that you actually hate. If you want, I can do any kind of voice at all. You get it? You should stop being a witch and become a voice actress. So, are all the pieces set up on both sides now? Furudo Erika? What a wonderful piece. She's a much more suitable piece for you than Angie was, Burn. Very talented indeed. Your praise honors me, Lady Lambda Delta. The pleasure is mine. She really is wonderful. Truly cute. I'd like to make her surrender to the illusion of the witch and see her face twist in humiliation. Hear that? Don't embarrass me, okay? Prove yourself to be a much more useful piece than Angie was. Yes, leave it to me, Lady Burncastle, my master. I'm nothing like that gloomy, dull-witted, totally uncute piece. She's right. That Angie didn't do anything useful except get turned into meat chunks to wage battle her on. I have absolutely no interest in family love or sibling love. The game we want to see is more gruesome and sticky. A grotesque, a pop, and cute murder case. If Natsuhi is the king, then I wonder if that makes Beato the queen. The back of witches and furniture guarding Natsuhi is like a set of chess pieces, and more like bowling pins, right? Natsuhi and Beato, Kenzo and illusions of the worthless furniture. Entertain us a bit, will you? Especially you, Beato. We're already bored of you. This Legend of the Witch Murders game of yours is over already. Your time is over and done with. This game board already belongs to Burn and me. It'll suit you to be reduced to one of your pieces and toyed with for all eternity. Both Natsuhi and Beato are like the guts of a filthy truth wrapped in a bit of thin skin, tearing that into bits and dragging the insides out of one of our few pleasures. Yep, you can have tons of fun with it. Hey, are you watching? Beatrice, look at how much fun can be had playing with your game board. Let me show you. This fifth game's really gonna be fun. It's a bit sad if we're the only ones having a pleasant chat. Why don't you let Beato talk too? Hear that? I'll give you special permission to talk. What do you hope to gain from this latest game? She said nothing. That's right, that's right. You're the loser who surrendered to Battler. Leave it to me, okay? I'll put the witch side on top right away. But that means I'll have to sacrifice your piece. The epitaph has been easily solved before the first twilight, and Beatrice, the keeper of the gold, has lost face. Isn't it great that you remain as a piece as part of Natsuhi's illusion? Well, we're treating you as a pin now, instead of a piece, okay? The Golden Witch Beatrice is out of the picture now. You and your furniture have only a minuscule role in my game. A loser's role. Resign yourself to getting blasted away and becoming burns in my toy. If you don't like that, why not just tell us to stop? If you do, we'll stop. She's saying she doesn't mind. You're totally a pin. There's no need for a golden witch anymore. All that's needed is a sacrificial doll, so the two witches can enjoy some time playing. Die, disappear. Confess to your filthy past and your crimes. Speak out your sob story of regret and repentance as you throw yourself off a cliff and die. The Golden Witch will never again have her turn. Beato. Corey Beatrice, huh? I'm on Battler's side. That's the side I'm choosing. I'm playing from. So obviously, witches can't exist. There's no such thing as magic. Sorry. Unless we have a situation such as Angie, I don't think I could become a Beatrice. And don't witches have to be like female for that to work? I'm obviously not female. In case you didn't know. This will probably turn out to be a nasty game. On the surface, it looks very similar to the usual tales. However, there's no respect given to the true main character of her story. This tale was supposed to be the one that the Golden Witch Beatrice invited Ushimiya Battler to see. However, the host has been lost, and there are no longer any guests. The one who did the inviting and the one who was invited are no longer around in this horrible tale. Welcome to the 5th game, End of the Golden Witch. Welcome to the banquet without the guest of honor, hijacked by the evil witches. Ready, Battler? The second day is finally about to start. Just like Beto, I hate slow story progression. Just what do you want? Just do what you want. No matter how much you mess things up, I'll definitely reach the truth of this game. It has to be that way. You've got to fight for your little sister's sake as well. Don't worry. Lady Lambda Delta is a far more terrifying opponent than that fool, Beatrice. But I'll be giving you plenty of support, so there won't be any problems. Together, with me, why don't you finally expose the illusion of the witch this time? I don't give a damn about you. I won't acknowledge anything that didn't exist in Beato's games, so I don't need you. It's now really the time to act tough. Oh well, let's both give it our all, okay? Together, let's tear this illusion of the witch apart. Erica offered me her hand to shake. Instead of just passively ignoring this, I gave her a proactive and clear answer by knocking her hand aside. Looks like he hates shaking hands, just like Angie. Don't worry, I'm a far more useful piece than Angie. I'm nothing at all like shredded meat that couldn't do anything but restore your fighting spirit. Isn't it great that you've been blessed with such a helpful-looking ally? In the past, it was Virgilia and Ronave. Then Angie came as well. And now you have Byrne and Erica. There are so many pieces supporting you. So, how does it feel knowing that you still can't catch on to the truth despite that? How does it feel? It doesn't matter. This battle is between me and Beato. Everyone else besides us doesn't matter. No? Is that true? Are you finally standing on your own? You've always had someone helping you, someone sympathetic to you. So I wonder just how far you'll get on your own. Entertain me. I'll grab it and take it back. This is our game. You two aren't wanted here. Yes, that's true. This is your game, so try taking it back. Let's see how far someone like you, who couldn't even win Beato's games when she went easy on you all over the place, can get in Lambda's completely ruthless game without any help. Well then, wake up, Ushimiya Battler. Welcome to the morning of October 5th. Umineko no Nakukoro Nichiru, Nocturne of Truth and Illusions. Oh yeah. Speaking of voice actors, the second day, October 5th, 1986. I responded to a post on Facebook, and this guy wants me to was asking just for freebie help of anybody who wanted to make audiobooks for a project, stories and such that didn't have a audiobook, and just making some. And he gave me, I said, go ahead, give me whatever, I'll try and read it, give it a shot. Why the hell not? He gave me Akashic Records of the Bastard Magic Instructor. And I don't know what I was expecting, but that definitely wasn't it. But so I'm gonna give a shot at reading that, maybe see where we go. Anyway, back to Umineko. We're here to save Beatrice so that we can kill her. If that makes any sense at all, because this game is all over the place. Was it someone's alarm clock? Beep, beep. An electronic tone repeatedly rang out through the room. Battler, who had gone to bed late and not managed to get enough sleep, covered his head in his blanket and waited for someone to turn off the alarm. But no matter how much time passed, the electronic tone didn't stop. Here, I'll type it out for you. Akashic. Not Akshik. I said witch instructor. That's inciting a bit of chaos into the world and into your own life is always interesting. That is not something I ever would have picked out by myself unless somebody recommended it. So let's give it a shot at some point. I see. The point of an alarm clock isn't just to be loud enough to wake you, but to be annoying enough to keep you from wanting to fall back asleep. Hey, the alarm's going off. Make it stop, please. Why do waking up voices always get this annoyed? Well, it does make sense. After all, people are still sleepy and in a bad mood. However, there was absolutely no sign that my annoyed voice had caused anyone to turn over in their sleep, or crawl out of bed to stop the alarm. Letting out a deep sigh, I stumbled to my feet. With the shutters down on the windows, there was almost no light getting in, and the room was as dim as it had been earlier. Though, even without the shutters, there's no way this dull weather would let in enough sun to make this a pleasant morning. The cousins were still wrapped up in their beds, sound asleep, taking no notice whatsoever of that beeping. Normally, once any one person gets up, the others tend to automatically follow. Annoyed that this law of serial summer camp awakenings that I'd made up had been broken, I searched for the source of the sound. I could hear it coming from a wristwatch set on a table. Judging by the style of the watch, it was probably George Henneke's. Anyway, when I randomly pushed a small button on the side of it, the sound stopped. Apparently, it had been set for 7 in the morning. Is it already 7? Sorry, but I really don't feel like I slept at all. Playing cards were left on the table as though they had stopped mid-game. The game had probably been 7s. 7th at 7. Damn it. I've got this piercing headache. What the hell happened last night? That mountain of gold and the subsequent argument between the relatives all feel like a bad dream. So stupid. Breakfast normally came at 8. Now wasn't a bad time to start getting up and getting dressed. Even those adults probably won't argue in front of the cousins. In that case, I'll stay with my cousins all day long. I'm sure they'll be able to separate me from all this annoying talk about the gold and being the successor and all. In fact, I should have done this from the beginning. I felt disgusting, having slept with my clothes on last night, which caused me to get all sweaty. I guess I'll take a shower. I'm sure the others want to as well. At this age, it's embarrassing to wake them by shaking their shoulders. If I turn the TV on, everyone will probably wake up. Well, let's at least turn the lights on for now. In this dim light, with the quiet sound of the never-ending wind and rain, it really doesn't feel like morning has come yet. I flipped the light switch, and then that dimly lit morning ended. Yep, I knew it. Something was up. George? George! This is just too horrible. How could anyone get away with something like this? As they clung to Anaki's corpse, which would never wake up again, Aunt Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi cried. That's enough. Do you think George-kun would like the two of you to see him this way? Of course not. Aniki, I know how you feel. But let's have Dr. Najo handle this. You don't understand. George is killed. George! George! Dr. Nancho's right. We mustn't keep staring at George in such a state. This is for George's sake. We have to restrain ourselves for now. When Aunt Eva tried even harder to cling to that corpse, Dad and Uncle Hideyoshi dragged her away and had a heated debate with her beside the wall. No, no, George! Dr. Nancho, help him! If he's lost so much blood, do a blood transfusion! George and I are the same blood type. I beg you. Dr. Nanjo. Eva-san. It pains me to say this, but your blood can't do George-kun any good now. Dr. Nanjo shook his head slightly, then nodded across to where I stood, giving me a signal. I softly pulled the blanket up, covering George Aniki's corpse. His neck was split wide open. It was probably larger and deeper than his mouth. Would covering that part up make the corpse look neat and clean? Of course not. The large amount of lost blood stained the bed a horrible red and black, and even covering him with a blanket couldn't hide the traces. After all, even the blanket had large red-black stains, and covering him with it made his corpse look even more gruesome. So I stripped the blanket off my bed and placed it on top of the first one. But there were only 2 extra blankets, so if we covered one more of the corpses, we wouldn't be able to cover any more. I felt bad about the ones we can't cover, but for some reason, times like these make me feel like muttering, "Don't complain about it being unfair," inside my head. Kiri, put blankets over all of them. Won't want them to catch a cold. Sure. Kiri-san and I started covering the other corpses up to their heads with their blankets, just like George Aniki's, so that they wouldn't have to undergo any more shame, with their terrible wounds exposed like this. In one bed rested Jessica. Jessica was exactly the same as George Aniki, though she appeared to be resting quietly in the bed. Her neck had been sliced deep, and the wound lay open in a brutal way. Maria was the same. And not only Maria. There was one more victim. Lying on the same bed, as though they'd been sleeping alongside each other, was Aunt Rosa. George Aniki, Jessica, Maria, and Aunt Rosa. In this room were 4 humans who had been killed, their necks sliced open. They'd probably been like that since last night. I had returned without noticing anything, gotten in bed, and fallen asleep. All of them had a horizontal cut across their throats. I had been forced to see all the way, into the depths of those gashes in everyone's throats. At worst, the wounds might have been deep enough to stretch halfway through their necks. If you tried to open it up, you'd probably be able to see that the gash reached all the way to the bone. The only wounds were the single gashes on each neck, so if you just covered their necks with your hand, you might be able to persuade yourself that they were merely sleeping. But even so, this frighteningly deep wound was incredibly gruesome. There's no such thing as clean or dirty ways of killing. All methods of killing are equally brutal, but even so, the brutality here was just horrible. And there was one more thing that adorned these brutal murders, making them even more unsettling. Drawn very large on the wall was something like an eerie magic circle. It was drawn in a bright red paint that looked like blood, and made it look as though some creepy ceremony had taken place in this room. The 4 of them offered as human sacrifices. However, that wasn't what we were concerned about. No one has a heart so cold that they could witness the deaths of those close to them, and still worry about some scribbles on the wall. Good morning, everyone. Oh, what a wonderful magic circle. I think... Well, let's see for a bit. The girl who bragged that she drew more pleasure from the process of exposing the truth than the truth itself, and who went so far as to call herself an intellectual rapist, appeared in the hall. When she saw the extraordinary creepy magic circle in this gruesome room, I heard what was unmistakably a sigh of admiration escape her lips. You, don't come in here. I just heard about it in the corridor. It's 4 people who passed away, correct? Allow me to express my sincere regrets. On Erika's face. Oh, that's not it. It was in her eyes. In Erika's eyes, I could see an indiscreet smile that was hard to describe. She found this interesting. She found the outbreak of a crime interesting. It was like the smile of a kid off to the side of the stage just before her turn to appear in a school play. Sorry, Erika-chan. We're busy at the moment. Could you wait in your room? Well, we can't have that. It's the detective's right to investigate the scene. We're saying that we have no business with you. Now's the time for outsiders like you to stand back. In my personal opinion, only third-rate mysteries have a suspect who tries to interfere with the investigation, and then turns out to be the culprit. Who gives a damn about what you want? Get out! You aren't wanted here. Erika-chan, I'm really sorry, but could you go back to your room? We're busy right now. George! George! Stand back. I can't investigate the scene like this. If it's necessary, we'll do it ourselves. The police will do it. Like hell, you have the right to bring more shame to everyone's remains than they've already endured. Detective's authority. The detective has the right to inspect all crime scenes. Stand back, Ushumiya Battler. This is an official privilege of this game, which the human side has accepted. I think with that, we'll call it a day. Divine right to defile the crime scene. Or some such. Yeah, I don't like Erika. In case you couldn't tell. It's... well, I'll say this up front. That sickeningly sweet, charming attitude, and then coupled with intent like that, is very undesirable to me. I really don't like that aspect. The sickeningly sweet just feels fake. Even if it's not, it just feels fake, and I hate fake things, personally. So she rubs me wrong. It's... yeah, I don't know. Sorry to anybody who likes her, but that's my personal, honest opinion. Which apparently is going to cause problems and make me regret something later. I don't know. Anyway, take care, everybody. I'm off. Yeah, this game goes all over. And this episode is all messed up. See you later, guys.